Good morning, All Saints.
Good morning.
You may have heard of my sister, Rory Lowdermilk, but I'm the lesser-known Lowdermilk sister, Halley. I just graduated from high school this Wednesday, and I've been a member of All Saints Church since conception. The glory that you have given me, I have given them, so that they may be one as we are one. I and them, and you and me, that they may become completely one, so that the world may know that you have sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. This specific line resonates with my soul standing with religion. I often think about how religion has shaped my life and the lives around me. The God I believe in may not be the God that you believe in, though we claim to share the same God. My entire religious upbringing is completely biased in the sense that All Saints is my home. There's something about this God and the glory that All Saints God has given me that brings me from Long Beach to All Saints every Sunday morning. I've learned throughout the years that not everyone grew up with the same God I did. Rather, some learned to fear a God that was vengeful and full of anger and hate, a God that wished to bring punishment upon those he labeled sinners. When I learned that people strayed from religion because of this God, I felt this sympathy, something so deep back in my chest that it felt almost like my backbone, that was so eager to leap forth and embrace them and say, "Don't worry. God loves you. God always loved you, and God will always love you. My God is not their God." Earlier in the school year, we were asked to write a poem. The prompt itself was uncomplicated with few parameters. Show, don't tell, don't use cliches, and keep the emotional dial below an 8, with an example that my sister would classify as cringeworthy. But the kicker was the prompt itself, so broad and unspecific. Choose an early childhood memory. Well, isn't that just great? I can barely remember how to do the math lesson from yesterday, and you want me to write a poem about a memory from when I was 9. I couldn't be cliche, so I didn't write about the beach, or recess, or sidewalk chalk, or swimming pools. I chose something that was a great hazy focus from my childhood: heaven. Let me share and then explain. The poem is as follows. Sunday nights. Grandpa, is that you? Can you hear me? Are you there? I aim my thoughts towards the sky, as if speaking into the void would enable him to hear me. No. Little me believed. I believed that he could hear my thoughts. I asked him to watch my dog, Arrow. Can you hear me? Is he okay? Lying there in my white-framed bed, my breath heavy coming in and plenty on its exit. Windows. Their triangular light illuminated the turning fan blades. My sister's chest functioned rhythmically, welcoming the cool, stiff air, releasing it full and warm. Grandpa, can you hear me? God, is he okay? My heart could feel my Cocker Spaniel frolic. I knew Grandpa sat waiting to play pink and purple princess checkers again. Someday, Grandpa. My mom's dad rearranged the board amongst people while my Arrow played with pups, either realm unbeknownst unto the other, but on Sundays their heavens met. Sundays are when we talked. I talked to God, Grandpa, and Arrow, while listening to the ceiling fan respond, "Halley, we can hear you. Are you okay?" My perception of God has evolved very little since the age of 9, and I'm proud. God has always been a friendly presence in my life. In the poem, the manner of prayer is extremely casual. I have a personal relationship with God in the same way I'm connected to the loved ones who wait for me in heaven. God has continued to support me through my downfall and my lows. Rather than being angered by my mistakes, my God is forgiving and understanding. God sent me as I am, and I like to believe that God would never create a creature that God would not love. I know I am worthy of love. I know I am worthy of God's love because he sent me. I am worthy of God's friendship, and so are you. Again, I'd like to remind you that All Saints is my forever home. My parents were married here 20 years and 4 days ago. I was baptized here, Sunday schooled and children's chapeled here, youth grouped, acolyted, and finally confirmed here. All Saints is the place where I conceived the notion of God. The glory that you have given me, I have given them, so that they may be one, as we are one, I and them, and you and me, that they may become completely one, so that the world may know that you have sent me, and have loved them even as you have loved me. In Sunday school, there was a certain prayer that Laura Thornton would say that really began the basis for my spiritual journey. All that I really took away was that God was in us and all around us. Now, being 6 years old and probably taking things quite literally, I believe that God was the air I breathed and walked through, and that God was my tummy telling me it was definitely time for that apple juice and graham crackers. But maybe when I was 10, when I was camping, I began to believe that God was the space above me, a vast, unending, mysterious, and faraway entity. Following my education through youth group and confirmation, I decided that God was not only the air my fingers tickled out the window on car rides, not only the hunger, laughter, and pains of my body, not only the beauty of the night sky, but all of the above. God's glory that has been given to me is both the air that fills the space between us and the space within us. The air of God is heavy with emotion, a human commonality. The same air I breathe, the glory that God has given me, is the same air God has given to you. My breath of life I breathe unto others so that we may be one. My thoughts, my love, my strife, my worries, my dreams, my heart I share with you so that we may become one. You and I may not share the same plot line of life, but we share the quintessential emotions. If you have ever felt mad, sad, scared, joyful, empowered, or peaceful, you have experienced the glory of God, given to us so that we may become completely one. Imagine you are young or look through the eyes of a child. Children are God's glory. They are born pure, free of judgment, and full of emotion. Young kids can make friends based off their lunches, a favorite recess activity, or nowadays a favorite TV show character. There is no need for a child to feel hatred or disgust for another because they are simply focused on sharing their happiness, their joy, with someone else. They are focused on strengthening their oneness. If you could focus your energy on our similarities rather than the differences that separate us, you as adults could strengthen your oneness. As I enter the world of adulting this year, I have begun to reminisce on the freedoms of my youth. As I've grown older, I've accustomed myself to certain mannerisms and categorized myself in a very certain way. From my box, I've reflected that there are so many people that you can connect with if we only tried. Here are 2 words, empathy and sympathy. 2 words which I have Googled millions of times because I always want to use the right one in the context of the situation. Sympathy is commonly used to express pity or a feeling of remorse on one's behalf, whereas empathy is one's ability to comprehend the emotions of another. When we empathize, we are our most glorious self. When we can extract a feeling of being mad, sad, scared, joyful, empowered, or peaceful in order to connect with someone else who is feeling mad, sad, joyful, empowered, or peaceful, we are strengthening our bond of oneness. I want the world to know, my world, the people I connect with and see most often, and those who have great significance in my life, to know that I have been sent. I can see my effect on the world because I share my love. I empathize. I am learning to communicate. I am learning to relate. I am learning to interact. The world reaches farther than my mind can even comprehend, but by deciding that every person is worthy of my love, I have shared the glory of God. The glory that you have given me, I have given them, so that they may be one as we are one. I and them, and you and me, that they may become completely one, so that the world may know that you have sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. Growing up with 2 moms is an experience in itself. Not because I get twice the smothering, or twice the pampering, or twice the amount of whatever anyone assumes is typical of a mom. People would ask, wait, How do you have two moms? Oh, your parents are divorced. Okay, first off, I had no clue what divorce was back then, and my initial response was, no. They're married, like, to one another. My mom married my other mom. Then followed the squished foreheads with confused faces. To this, I would often respond, they're gay? Ah! I think my family dynamic has had zero impact on my religious journey, but rather the reactions affected how I saw God. I knew from a very young age that my parents were married here at All Saints, mainly because when anyone asks why I go to All Saints in Pasadena if I live in Long Beach, I reply with, my parents were married there. And they seem satisfied with the answer. But I always thought it was super cool that there is this community that is so steadfast about welcoming those who have never found a place to call home. So I have shared my journey with you in hopes that you can remember a time when your faith in God was innocent, when your relationships were unprejudiced, a time when the world was still filled with the glory of God. I urge you to leave today looking at the world through the lens of a child, with the knowledge that you and I are connected through God's glory. Step outside your box, curb your mannerisms, and forget about categories. Find the glory of God in the things that you share with the people around you. Thank you.